Okay, we have a green box, we have a live counter ticking up, so we should now be live, which of course means welcome back to the Storytime Network, where today we're just gonna shoot the shit, honestly.
Yeah, so I'm like sleep deprived. Mill is like in the middle of Mass Effect burnout, and because I'm petty and a pre-stream joke didn't land, also Jack is American. Look, it's like not necessarily something to be ashamed of, but low key, it's for a lot of people would consider it. So look, let's not get into that. Do you guys want to know the origin of the generic Japanese fantasy setting that shows up in every single isekai on the planet?
Is it Dragon Quest? I bet it's Dragon Quest.
No.
Really?
In point of fact, this might be an inspiration for Dragon Quest. Or it could be a convergent evolution type thing.
OG Final Fantasy?
No. It's like not necessarily what you're gonna think. And it's one of those things where you realize, huh, it turns out there's not necessarily anything new under the sun. Because it's friggin' the fault of Matt Mercer's ilk.
Oh god, Dungeons and Dragons? Really?
Specifically, apparently, have you heard of the term Record of Lodoss War?
Yes.
Oh god.
There have been several anime adaptations of it. It was a Dungeons and Dragons campaign published in a Japanese game magazine in the 70s.
Jesus.
So, before you had your fancy, gorgeous-haired Matt McMercers who did their, like, high production value table full of hot people who are also great voice actors, apparently, people were just playing Dungeons and Dragons and then, like, publishing the campaign in a magazine.
I mean, Lodoss War would not be the last property based off of a tabletop game.
Not just a tabletop game, a tabletop campaign. Like, I don't, like, I'm sure you understand, like, the significance of what I'm saying. Literally, it is like, it's Critical Role, but before Critical Role was cool.
It sounds like Critical Role's less cool uncle.
Well, I mean, it's probably the one that, like, it's probably the origin of Dark Elves being elves but brown. So, possibly the less cool and
That's an interesting thought to consider.
Right?
Yeah.
So how does this play into isekai?
So, the generic fantasy setting that you see in every isekai with the Adventurers Guild and like the rankings and the everything. And I mean like everything that makes the generic Japanese fantasy setting what it is.
Yeah.
In the same way that all Western fantasy is at its core
Lord of the Rings.
Grandpa Tolkien.
Yeah.
You can say that at its core, all Japanese fantasy originates from Record of Lodoss War.
Makes sense.
Was there just,
and
like, no fantasy anime before that?
I don't know if there were really anime before. I mean, if you count, like, stuff like Dororo.
Dororo, and there's one other one. Aura Battler Dunbine. Considered the first isekai that came out like the late 60s, early 70s.
I'm not saying exclusively the isekai stuff. Like, there were plenty of, like, fantasy properties that weren't isekai as well. Oh yeah, that used to be a thing that exists. Remember when that was a thing?
It still is a thing.
Could have fooled me.
I don't blame you for taking that edge, honestly, but there
Could've
are
fooled-
non-fantasy isekai,
could've
not
fooled-
isekai fantasy.
Could have fooled me, considering there's literally 5 shows this season with In Another World in their fucking title.
No, you were watching like 2 or 3 of the fantasy shows that aren't remotely isekai adjacent this season.
That doesn't take away all of the ones that are.
Yeah. Doesn't take
Okay,
away the
fair,
5
but at the same
fucking
time,
isekais.
like, I'm not wrong either.
Neither of you are wrong, but like,
I mean,
isekai is not something worth defending.
I mean, I'm mostly
I'm not
just.
defending isekai. I'm defending the existence of non-isekai fantasy anime.
I mean, I'm mostly
Which
just
do-
japing. I just wanted to take a shot at the fact that all of these fucking series are so uninventive that they have to have In Another World in their title.
Yeah, no, I don't get that. Like, even that time I got reincarnated as a slime is a more creative title. And that's pretty basic, exactly what it says on the tin
Yeah.
type title, you know?
It's also, but you know, it's also, easily cut down into something recognizable. You know, slime, either just slime on its own, or slime Sakai.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know exactly what anime we're talking about when I say that.
Yeah. Like, most of the good isekais can be boiled down to, like, a handful of words at most. You got your log horizons, your ReZeros, your slimes. And very few titles exist outside of that.
I don't necessarily know about including
Including what?
ReZero in that list. We all know how I feel about ReZero.
Do we? I don't think you were on the stream where we talked about season 1.
No, you weren't.
It's because I hate it.
Huh. All to each their own.
Elaborate.
Are we really gonna turn this into a why Fuzzy hates things and then immediately be
I'm
like...
just trying to keep the conversation moving. Like,
well, okay, no, that's fair.
I am curious as to why you hate it.
Like, I've not heard you talk about why you don't like ReZero.
Is it because it's of the misery porn?
That's part of it. Like, the misery porn aspect is just like, It's like, it's one of the few series where I feel that the gimmick harms it more than it does good. Like, okay, well, here's the thing. Usually a gimmick in these is neutral at best, right?
Yes.
I do feel like there are ways to do a time loop that is not misery porn. Like, it feels like sometimes the time loop is just an excuse for consequence-free misery porn.
I mean, part of the thing about ReZero is that there are still consequences even with...
Yes, but like, that's not exactly something you intuitively grasp. Right? Like, you have to, like, actually... Basically, ReZero is... I feel like it's too dumb a series to deserve the amount of thought it requires.
I don't think it's really that dumb of a series, to be honest. I've seen much dumber.
That's a low bar, though, Jack. Come on.
Yeah, you should know by now that the isekai bar doesn't get much lower.
It could be called a legitimately dumb series. It has to pass below a bar that I set. that I mentally set in my mind. By my qualifications, that I consider a dumb series something that falls below that bar. ReZero is substantially above that bar, in my opinion, in no small part because the world building is actually pretty neat and not super exposition-y
Out of
compared to, say,
curiosity,
like, what was that, Bill?
what do you consider a dumb series?
Oh boy. You want me to just go by this season, or you want me to go by, like, previous seasons?
Go by, like,
pick your-
historically.
Just pick something that you really want to shout out as fucking dumb.
Plunderer.
You know what? That one's fair.
Ugh. Oh god, I got grossed out just thinking of that show.
Yeah, no,
The show
that
was so
real
dumb
bad.
that it literally had to contrive reasons for dumb fan service.
Well, again, I still think it's just like it's Seven Deadly Sins if like the main if the main takeaway from it was just the fan service. Like
Seven Deadly Sins also has a lot of fucking problems that we have discussed at length before.
No, it absolutely does, but like it had its good points for a time.
Okay.
For a
Question.
time.
Question.
Yeah.
Is Meliodas a Shota?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Physically, at the very least.
He's a very hunky Shota, but he is probably a Shota.
He's a miniature twonk.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Okay. Do you think he would have gotten away with as much if he wasn't a Shota?
Absolutely not.
See, I don't know that.
It depends on the
don't think
perspective you're going from, but if you're going with a Western audience, he absolutely would not have.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know about that, Jack. Like, you should know by now that people are garbage.
Not all people, just a lot of people.
I mean, would Mineta be considered a Shota?
Oh, yes.
No, Mineta is a goblin. A terrible,
Yeah.
terrible goblin that gives
Look,
shame to the name.
They're basically the same thing.
I mean,
Well, actually, no. Okay.
my point is that they are of the similar archetype, but I think the difference, rather than Meliodas being a Shota, is that he's a badass, and therefore people like him. People are so willing to give as much leeway as possible to characters they consider badass.
Yes. And the other thing with Mineta is that he is very irritating from the get-go. Whereas Meliodas, at least, has the excuse of being very friendly appearing and also, again, badass from pretty early on.
Yeah, and we didn't find out about the grooming until much later in the series.
Yep.
Let's be real. The
Whereas
series had
Mineta is an
already gone
upfront
down.
pervert, like, straight up.
The series had already gone downhill by that point.
Mm-hmm.
It probably basically gone downhill when it's introduced power levels for no fucking reason.
Yeah, that was actually the point where I realized, oh, well, that was fun while it lasted.
Like
The ending of the first season of the anime was when it should have stopped.
Like, I do think there are some good moments after that, but in terms of overall quality, that is absolutely where it started going downhill.
Have we lost Jack?
Yeah, I can't see Discord.
I also can't see Discord for different reasons. So let me consult the Disky. No, we have not lost... Oh. Welcome back, Jack. Hello? Jack.
Anyway, what were we saying while Jack figures whatever the fuck's happening with him out.
Well, where Seven Deadly Sins went horribly, horribly wrong.
I mean,
And I think that
again, it's a case of power scaling.
it's not even power scaling. Well, it's partially power scaling.
Cause they set the bar so fucking high with the dude at the end of season 1 that there really wasn't much else for them to go while still keeping people relevant.
Oh, you're still talking about Seven Deadly Sins and all that
Yeah.
bullshit.
So, okay.
Like where could they have gone that could have kept someone like Barn relevant?
Look, Ban was my favorite character in that series, and he got absolutely shafted.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like,
At least he didn't get his character fucking ruined like several of the other characters.
Do not get me started on that, because I will rant for the next 3 hours.
Am I wrong, though?
No, that's why I'm mad. But yes, from slightly less rage-inducing topics, can we talk about something? There's been a worrying trend in recent shonen.
What are you referring to specifically?
So, okay, Mill, are you current on JJK?
yes.
And how far are you on it? When is the latest volume on MHA ended?
Fuck, where did it end?
Wasn't it with
It was
Lady Anne?
Yeah, it was Lady Nagant stuff.
Mm.
I still question why the fuck they didn't shave her head.
Have you considered that it's one of those things where it would have just grown back more quickly than they could shave it?
No, bullshit. I call bullshit. Unless they actually tried that, which, it didn't seem like they did.
Look, you have to remember that this is a world where people are aware of the existence of something and or someone like All For One and are basically just like, neat.
I mean,
Let's just do nothing then.
I'm okay. I'm basically, it seems like a fair assumption to say that either they were very confident in Tartarus's abilities, which, I can see that given how fucking dumb the Hero Commission are, or the replacement Hero Commission president wanted to use Nagant at a later date, so those are my two theories, or both, probably both.
Anyways, what's your worrying trend you're worried about, Fuzzy?
I feel so. Let me present 3 examples. Because actually, now that I think about it, Nagant is post Makia Midnight Shigaraki nonsense.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So here's the thing. I am starting to get worried that, and I'm presenting 3 examples, technically 4, and I'm sure there are more that I can't think of off the top of my head, that shonen authors are becoming a little too, I don't know what word I should use, either trigger happy for character deaths, and also escalating the last boss far too much. Like JJK, right?
Are you referring to the death that happened in Shibuya?
No,
I'm assuming you're
I'm talking about
about...
the latest major death in JJK.
Was it confirmed that she died?
No, it was not.
I mean, there
I
were
People have
Characters have
come
walked
back
off
from
worse, Fuzzy.
worse injuries and Shonen Fuzzy.
they have, but like I
Again,
don't trust
unless I
it.
see a body, or I see the death on screen, I'm not trusting it.
Fuzzy, I'm still in denial over Nobara. I'm not gonna let
No,
this one go
Nobara
either.
is absolutely still okay. Like she's in a coma or something. Like see, that's the thing. Is like
It would be pointless
he
to try
doesn't-
to reveal just to say that she's dead at this point.
Yeah. No, I agree with
Okay,
you, but it's...
considering
yeah.
what Akutami has been like so far, that's actually not an impossibility.
It's not impossibility, but it's a very distinct unlikelihood.
It would be a dick move.
Yes.
But yeah, so like look at Demon Slayer. Really escalated hard and basically turned the ending into a Pyrrhic victory with a generic reincarnation happy ending.
I mean,
Look at MHA,
I have words.
where
I have words about the ending, about about Demon Slayer in general that are not positive. I don't think
no, there's a lot of things to be mad about with Demon Slayer in general.
like, I think its pacing is kind of hot garbage.
Oh, it is. It's both too fast and too slow at the same time.
Exactly.
Exact criticism that Mill lead.
Yeah,
Almost word for word.
Yeah, no, we will. I don't you worry your pretty little head. We will rant at length about Demon Slayer, even though we already have. But no, the thing is, the trend continues. Black Clover is doing something similar. MHA is doing something similar. Jujutsu Kaisen is doing something similar. It feels like a linear warrior quadratic wizard situation, except the quadratics are the bad guys.
I mean, I can kind of see that, but I don't think the issue is as bad with Jesus Kaisen and Black Clover as it is with Demon Slayer and Hiroaka.
Okay, it's pretty bad with Black Clover if you've read the latest chapters. I'm not saying anything specific because Mill's a filthy volume reader, but like
I've also fallen
it's
behind Black
pretty
Clover,
bad.
so...
Huh?
I've also fallen behind Black Clover.
Oof.
It might not even be worth getting back into it at this point, honestly.
We'll have to see on that front. I'm still enjoying it, and I don't think the power creep has gotten too bad personally, but that's just my opinion.
I disagree wholeheartedly, but I can't really see where you're coming from either. I have no idea.
I mean, the thing with Black Clover compared to, Jujutsu Kaisen or My Hero is that I know that Black Clover is dumb, stupid shonen bullshit. I don't expect
That's
anything
true.
different.
Black Clover gets slack because it is very unapologetic in the fact that it's kind of trash, but it's the kind of trash that everyone loves.
I mean, there's a little bit of self-awareness there, with Yami just going to surpass your fucking limits. You're a shonen hero. Do it now, you idiot.
Also, Black Clover does get the benefit of the doubt in my mind, in part because while the characters are fairly generic, the characters at least do have some depth and some dynamics amongst each other that make them fun. And
it also has like the coolest power system since it's got the stand archetype power system, right? Which is
it's pretty basic, but it allows for a lot of versatility.
I mean,
I'm not talking about the general depth of the magic system. I'm just talking about the fact that it's like every character has their own thing that they do, and that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No. So yes, we accept that Black Clover is hot trash.
Mm-hmm.
We welcome it even. It's hot trash, but it's the best kind of trash.
It's kind of what I wanted Seven Deadly Sins to be.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. It's what Seven Deadly Sins wishes it could be.
Do you know there's a sequel to Seven Deadly Sins?
I wish I didn't.
I barely even know that Seven Deadly Sins exists anymore. I don't like.
I'm gonna say this categorically: sequel series to Shonen are bad. Like I don't
I
think there's been a
wholeheartedly
good
agree.
one. Has there ever actually been a good sequel series to a Shonen?
Does Z count? I don't think it does.
I would argue no, because it was still actually part of the same run of the manga. I mean,
Yeah.
in Japanese,
No,
it was
the
still
old-
called Dragon Ball. What I'm
I
talking
have
about
heard good
is like
things about the
GT and
sequel
Super.
to Zatchbell. But that's only like 10 chapters deep, so I don't
It's
know.
also like, who remembers that series?
I do. I read
Okay.
the whole thing.
It was just so painfully 90s.
But it was fun 90s.
I've never heard of it, so
Really?
I don't think I have. I might have like heard the name, but I don't know the like concept of it or anything.
So real basic pitch of the concept is basically a bunch of demon kids get summoned to the human world and
They fight
They-
Pokemon battles.
fight Pokemon battles. Basically, each gets paired with a human who reads their special spell book, and each spell book has a set number of spells
Basically, it's like it's
following
Pokemon.
along a theme.
Like the Pokemon are children that talk.
Yeah, main
Alright.
character has lightning powers. Cannot control them for a good chunk of the series.
Because of course, why would you have
Look,
a?
if he was able to control lightning powers from the beginning, he'd be unbelievably busted at the start.
Also, it's an easy progression for an author of, oh, look how the character's progressed. At the start he couldn't control his powers, and now he can after all this development.
Yeah, well, there's also just like as they progress and grow, they unlock new spells.
But anyway, we're not here to talk about like potentially good series. We're here to talk about the trash. Well,
Dumpster fires.
not entirely, but like, are you guys not seeing where I'm coming from with my like worries here?
I get where you're coming from. I just don't agree with it.
Like, why not?
entirely.
Because like,
I do agree with it to a degree, but not to the same degree that you seem to be
It's-
worried.
Well, it's just the four.
Okay. So I can understand because after the last chapter, I'm sort of like really confused as to where Jujutsu Kaisen's gonna go. Because honestly, I thought that Kenjaku absorbing Tengen was his win condition.
We don't know if
was.
he's actually going to be able to do it though, because some bullshit might pop out like right at the last second to stop him. We don't know because we don't have the new chapter out yet.
Yeah.
Because Shonen Jump's on break again.
Well, it's coming out this weekend.
Yeah,
I think
it was on break, I should say.
Yeah.
This last weekend.
So for My Hero in general, I talked about this a little bit in our I think it was our fall wrap up, or was it the anime of 2022? Whatever. I've talked about this on stream before. As a result of me reading so much fan fiction for it, I'm kind of feeling burnt out on like canonized My Hero.
Oof.
I was wondering when you'd reach that point.
I don't entirely blame you, honestly. I'm keeping up with it week to week, and some of the developments have been not the best.
It's just been like.
I think it's another one that sort of rushed its ending to a certain extent. Like,
It's not as bad as some of the other examples, if I'm being
I
honest.
actually
No.
feel the opposite. I feel that it's dragging a bit too much.
Yeah, a lot of the Final War stuff is like really dragged out. Not
I
helped
mean,
by the
again, not even
development
that,
are
it's-
really
when I'm talking about pacing, I'm talking about it in the same way that I talk about Demon Slayer having messed up pacing. Like, in the in the chapter by chapter, yeah, it's too slow because it's just taking so long to get through
Okay,
fights.
yeah. No,
But
no.
in
I totally see where you're
in a
coming from.
general pacing sense, it feels like it's gone a bit fast. I don't
It also
know.
just it
Like-
just feels like a lot of the default final battle
Hmm.
or final arc for a lot of series, and this is not limited to good shonen. Blech had this issue as well, as did Fart. Where it basically power crept the everything so much that any possible development felt contrived,
Hmm.
which is never a good thing.
Rarely a good sign, yeah.
I'm gonna make a suggestion here. Would the paranormal war arc have been better if Izuku hadn't have been there?
The
I
what
don't know.
arc?
The Paranormal Liberation War.
End of Act 2, basically.
The Big Bad War arc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first one is the issue, is what I'm talking about. Because, I mean, obviously, I'm not reading what's happening right now, but it kind of feels like it's probably just rehashing some stuff that happened in the first war arc.
It's
I won't spoil things, Mel,
white.
but
I will say that is not my issue with it. I mean,
Okay.
do you want to hear my issue with it, Mill? I'll be general to avoid spoilers.
I mean, you can do, yeah. I mean, I've already been spoiled on the big Bakugo thing. Though, to be fair, after seeing people reacting like that, I did search that one out, because, like, wait, what the fuck happened? Oh my god, is he actually going to die? No, Hori's not going to have the balls to pull that one off, is he?
No, he
I
would
wish he
never.
had the balls.
I really
That would've
do.
been fun.
I really, really do. And this is not me just saying it as somebody who doesn't particularly like Bakugo. I'm saying it as somebody who is like, that would have been really narratively good.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Like,
It would
even
also
if you
have
do like
consequences
Bakugo, it
that
would
are
have been
not. It would have had consequences that actually feel like consequences instead of quote unquote consequences.
yes.
Instead of character
been-
deaths that we don't get to see.
Either deaths we don't get to see or deaths that like kind of just don't matter.
Yeah,
Poor
some
Crust.
minor characters.
Poor Crust.
Yeah.
Crust
Poor
was
Crust.
like the goodest guy.
Hey, it was just a chill dude.
Can we all agree that Exless fucked up?
Yes.
Like, all
A
this
lot
shit
of people did.
This shit wouldn't have happened if Exless hadn't have just been a fuck up and accidentally revived Shiggy.
Yep. He paid for it with his life and his cape, though.
Yeah,
This is why
he took
no
the easy
capes.
way out. He got to die early. He didn't have to deal with all the bullshit that happened after.
Something, no capes.
Mm-hmm. I still love that scene. It's one of my favorite movie scenes.
I mean, Incredibles is like one of the best superhero movies.
One of the best animated movies, period.
But yes, so okay, let me tell you my issue, Mel.
Alright.
Okay, are you familiar with the trope Diabolus ex machina?
Is that the one where, like, a problem was just solved out of nowhere, illogically?
No, inverse.
Inverse.
A problem
No.
appears out of nowhere.
Right, okay.
Yes, well, no. It's kind of like, it's basically, there's Deus Ex Machinas are happening that Hori is pulling out of his ass, except it's all on the villain side.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Like, they are constantly getting one miraculous Deus Ex Machina after another, and it's like, I get that you kind of want to have an underdog story, but thus far, I can respect what he's going for, right? Deku's story has inherently been an underdog story, and it remains an underdog story, but it feels cheapening
Mm.
Yes.
in many ways. It cheapens a lot
Horikoshi's
of
got a
things.
bit of a super hard underboner.
Yeah, it cheapens things, and it's just sort of made it made it feel like, oh, they've like we've watched these characters grow and like work their butts off, and they've tried so hard, and the villains are still better than them in every way,
Mm.
or at least stronger.
I will say the most recent chapter did have a thing that I was very happy with at the end of the chapter. But yeah, the issue otherwise is still pretty consistent.
Yeah, where it's basically like the heroes have always been kind of incompetent,
Mm.
right? But it feels like all of their flaws are being magnified, and they're just catastrophically failing, and the opposite is happening for the villains.
Yeah.
And I can understand why it's happening, but that doesn't mean I have to like it. Like, I can understand what he's going for, but I don't think the execution is all there.
Mm-hmm. I will say some of the bits in the final arc so far have been pretty neat, but overall the execution is kind of lacking in several places. Especially with regard to a certain duel that was like, hey, this had a satisfying outcome and it's been undone. Fucking hell.
Right? That's just
That
the
would have been a
worst.
perfect place to wrap that bit up, and nope. Horikoshi is like, Diabolus ex machina.
Yeah, what if the villains had stuff that they could do that's better? But yeah, and similar things are happening in Jujutsu Kaisen, where the good guys, so to speak, and I call them the good guys, even though the curse sorcerers as a whole are probably like more bad than they are good.
Mm.
At least, well, they're more bad internally. They're good for like the average populace, but like the institution is just busted as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Which to Horikoshi, to Akutami's look, they're all blending together. They might as well all be written by the same person at this point. Akutami has made a point of. I mean, it's the first time I've ever seen an anime have an actual honest critique of the Japanese legal system,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
and which is just mind blowing that happened, and it's sad that it was basically just a throwaway.
Mm.
It was like, oh yeah, this happened. Well, moving on.
I think Hiragami will come back, and if he survives this, then there may be more with him.
You are a more hopeful man than me.
I feel like we've established this a long time ago.
Okay, yes, this is known, but like, especially in this case, it's like it does feel like he's kind of just been throwing side characters in and out of the side character blender.
Mm.
It's just like, especially the death in the latest chapter. You know me, I'm the type to like just assume the worst.
Mm-hmm.
So until I know for a fact that it's good, I'm going to assume it's bad. So you can, I'm sure you can understand why I'm pissed off about that particular death.
Yeah.
Mm.
No, I can
Yeah, if
understand
that
it. And
does turn out to be a solid death, I will also be very pissed.
as I said, like, I understand, like, your disappointment there, and I do think that that fight was kind of bullshit in how much Kenjaku was able to just pull out.
He pulled out
okay.
so much shit out of his ass.
I don't think him being able to pull stuff out of his butt was BS. I do think what was a problem was the person in question sticking with the plan, even though it was not working very clearly.
Hmm.
I do think there were like.
I mean, you have to also consider, Fuzzy, there's entirely the possibility of Tengen pulling some bullshit as well.
It would have been cool if Tengen had pulled some BS, but I don't think. Like, everything I've seen from Tengen suggests that he is like. He is like the quintessential personification of everything wrong with the institution of curse sorcerers.
You're not wrong, to be fair.
You're not wrong.
He is literally the stupid old man who thinks he knows better than everyone else in a setting where the standard character setting is stupid old man who thinks they're better than everybody else.
Oh, I've just remembered something while we're on the subject of Jujutsu Kaisen. Gojo has been in the box longer than he was in the story.
I'm
okay.
sure
I'm
Akutami is delighted by this.
Yeah.
Look, it was funny at first, but now I'm kind of just mad. Like, I understand why it's necessary. Don't get me wrong. I will never say it's not necessary to keep Gojo in the box for as long as possible. It just makes me feel kind of bad as an author, because like the only characters I hate in my own writing are the ones it's incomprehensible to me that you can dislike a character so much, especially when they're so well written.
Honestly, I think it's more of a hatred akin to my own for Kenjiro Suda, in that a lot of it is put on. There might be some real frustration there to a certain extent, but I don't think he hates him as much as he makes out with some of his comments.
I think he's just more annoyed by how obscenely popular Gojo is.
I don't think it's even that. I think it's just him frustrated that, you know, I think there absolutely has to be an element of frustration having to write around Gojo so much.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said, I do think that some of it is almost certainly performative. Like, just because he knows the fans enjoy it.
That's a very fair point. I do just like. I get it. It's just like it's when you hear the same joke over and over again, you kind of just like, well, yes, we get it. You hate Gojo. Yeah, okay. But anyway, no. Even that aside, I don't think Kenjaku pulled more out of his butt than he should have, because like there's still that one thing Sukuna did that is apparently not anything we've seen thus far, which is very confusing. So,
which is,
I have no doubt that like someone who is on that level. It's funny, isn't it? Tengen is as old as Sukuna and Kenjaku and all of these ancient, powerful wizards, but he's a little bitch.
What are you talking about with regards to Sukuna?
Where he did that weird thing that they like put in like wingdings in the font, and then he shot fire at Volcano Head.
Oh, right, that.
Remember that happened, right?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, no, I remember it, because I think it's that shot of fucking Sukuna pulling back a fire arrow is super fucking cool.
It is. Sukuna's like the cool moments in this series are really, really cool, and like not in the it's so cool but it's so dumb way. It's like so cool that it's cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
but at the same time, it's just like but I just feel like he stacked the deck too much in favor of the bad guys.
That seems to be a recurring problem with a lot of shonen, and that the one big one that's still ongoing
no.
that I don't think has fallen victim to this is One Piece.
Jack, that's like saying the sky is blue or the water is wet. Of course, One Piece hasn't fallen victim to the problematic shonen trope. At this point, One Piece is just a transcended work of literature. It's not a shonen anime anymore. I mean, it is, but like, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I am glad that One Piece hasn't really fallen into the pitfalls that a lot of anime and manga have in terms of, plot.
I mean, from as objective a standpoint as I can, give, One Piece is incredible. I just wish I'd sort of cared about it as much as I do some of the, less good series that we've been discussing.
One Piece was like the third manga I ever tried reading, so I've been on this train for quite a while.
I mean, that's the thing, I mentioned this today. The first manga that I read was One Punch Man. The second was My Hero. The third was, I would say, a joint of Full Metal Alchemist and Hunter x Hunter.
Mm-hmm. Which means you got into manga relatively recently.
Yeah,
and also set the bar pretty high for yourself.
I did
early on.
I did.
Do you want to know what the first manga I read was?
Go on.
Naruto.
The way you're saying it, well, okay, yes. I mean,
and the next one I read was Dragon Ball.
I feel like I might have you all beat because, like, I started my journey of anime really well. It started with Cardcaptor Sakura, which, because I grew up in a time and place where it was considered a girls' show, and that was, frowned upon.
Fuck gender norms.
By the publics.
Just gonna say that now. Fuck gender norms.
Yes.
Actually, that's gonna be something to bring up after we finish this discussion. I'll try and remember that for you, Fuzzy.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I was just like so excited whenever no one else was around when Cardcaptor Sakura was playing on Toonami, and I would just like sneak watch it and like hide. It's like I swear I hid my watching of Cardcaptor Sakura more than most kids probably hide their porn consumption nowadays.
Actually, sorry. Technically, my first manga was Yu-Gi-Oh. Technically, but the point is, I watched the Yu-Gi-Oh anime and read the Yu-Gi-Oh manga when I didn't realize what anime and manga was. I just thought Yu-Gi-Oh was this funny little cartoon that I really enjoyed. I was like, why are these Yu-Gi-Oh books backwards? That seems really weird. Why is Yugi killing people? That seems really weird.
Yeah, but
no, he's sending them to the Shadow Realm.
No, he just kills. He just kills fucking dudes in the first arcs. He just kills them. He sets a dude on fire.
Look, it's okay because he's the protagonist.
I guess it is.
That's what I learned from shonen growing up is you can get away with a lot of shit as long as you're the protagonist.
I mean, fucking
it's probably not the best.
Mokuba tried to poison Yugi and Joey. Mokuba! Kidnappee extraordinaire.
Well, to be fair, we don't know how many of those kidnappings were consensual. But yeah, okay, I've lost the plot. I have lost the point that I was trying to make, but I did have a point, I assure you.
Then do you want to go on to the question that I was remembering for you?
No. I let me just make my point. It's a very simple point. Overcompensation.
Yes. I mean, that's the thing. You know, you've got these new shonen series. You know, My Hero, Jujutsu Kaisen, that have very clearly learned from the sins of their predecessors. But in a sense, they've overcompensated on those,
Yes,
and are
exactly.
now making
'Cause
new
they were like,
mistakes.
before they were like, okay, so this is getting somewhat boring because the protagonists are so much stronger and they're
Yeah.
overpowered and there's no tension. But let's just power up the villains, and they're like, oh, like basically my concern is that a lot of these series, Demon Slayer did it and it definitely failed at it. But a lot of these series, and it
Well, that's
feels like My Hero
Demons.
is going down this route as well, and maybe JJK to a certain extent. Black Clover definitely is. It's going down a route.
The thing is, Black Clover never tried to correct the mistakes of its predecessors.
True,
Black Clover
but
was like, "I'm gonna just do it.
managed to do it accidentally.
I'm just gonna fucking go ham on this shit and see if I can do their shit right." And for a while, they managed it.
But yes, basically, any ending to some of these series where the good guys win is going to feel like a bit of an ass pull.
I mean, just going back for a second, you know, Demon Slayer's big issue, which you know is pacing, is also a result of trying to of overcorrecting predecessors' mistakes of, you know, going on for too long. So Demon Slayer said, "Yeah, I'm not gonna overstay my welcome," and then rushed everything because it needed another 100 chapters.
It's the
A
same
lot
with
of Demon Slayer's problems could have easily been solved by having another 100 chapters.
And actually spending time
honestly,
on its characters.
he could have gotten away with double the length. It was only like 300 chapters. A 600 chapter series is not excessive, I think.
Was it 300? I thought it was like 200.
It was just over
That's
200, yeah.
That's
Then
even
yeah,
worse.
it definitely could have fucking doubled.
Remember, this is a 22-volume series.
Which is like Babby in shonen standards.
I mean, what I will
Probably
say,
like
is they just need to get good, because Assassination Classroom only had 21 volumes and it was exceptional.
yeah, but like then he made that weird fetish kendo manga, and
Can
like
you not just let that go as a mistake that he didn't, you know, continue?
I am still reserving judgment on Elusive Samurai for that reason.
Lucy Samurai is good. We've got murder children.
Yes, and you know I love Murder Children, Mill. You know that one of my most like beloved tropes is cheerful, smiling murder children. But I just every time anyway, so yes, they're overcompensating for the mistakes of their predecessors, but now My Hero especially, I cannot think of a possible ending to My Hero that is not going to feel cheap and unearned at this point, and that's kind of sad.
It'll be difficult for the author to really pull it off, honestly. At best.
Like, Mill, it's everything that happened in the Makia Shiggy situation, but like up to 11. To the point that there were literally fights that had both emotional and plot relevant climaxes, and then the villains got a heroic second wind. And we're like, haha, we're fine now. And we'll proceed to kick your butts. And it's like, it's less so in JJK. The reason I say it's less so in JJK is because dynamic growth is very much a thing.
Also,
And
JJK has follows a lot more closely with stand rules, wherein things can counter other things
yes,
unexpectedly.
it's much more matchup dependent. Well, no, MHA followed stand rules until it decided not to anymore.
But JJK is still following stand
Yes, no,
rules, whereas
JJK,
MHA is not.
no, JJK is probably the best modern shonen. I don't think am I gonna get any pushback on that?
No.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, you might get some pushback from like Demon Slayer and Chainsaw Man fans, but not from us.
God, can we not talk about the Chainsaw Man fandom?
Chainsaw Man fandom is fucking weird.
Like, I am still like just so underhyped over Chainsaw Man. Like,
By all indications, the anime covers the weakest part of the manga.
I get it, but I was still expecting more, cause like, you know, fucking Jujutsu Kaisen first core covers the weakest part of Jujutsu Kaisen, and that was still pretty fucking good.
Mm.
I'd argue it was still actually it was. I'd argue the first core of Jujutsu Kaisen is better than the first core of Chainsaw Man. And I admit there's some bias there because I wasn't reading Jujutsu Kaisen from the start, obviously, but I was reading it before the anime started, and I didn't for Chainsaw Man because fuck off reading a manga where somebody vomits into somebody else's mouth.
I did read Jujutsu Kaisen before it was cool.
Yes, we know, hipster fuzzy.
I mean, technically,
Look.
I did as well. Like, when did it get cool?
When the anime
I think
came
when
out.
the anime was announced. But no, I mean, I was like, when I was reading Jujutsu Kaisen, it had like a chapter count in the like 30s.
Oh wow, that's low.
It was actually the same with Promised Neverland, funnily enough. I started reading Promised Neverland when it hadn't even hit Goldie Pond. Like, no, I was reading Promised Neverland when Escape from Grace Field was still current.
Dang, that's early. I remember catching up to Promised Neverland like after, I think it was after or during the anime when Goldie Pond was near the end. When it was near the end of Goldie Pond.
But yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen is the one I have the most hope for because it's very clear that the antagonists are basically already at the peak of their power, whereas the protags who are already kind of able to keep up with them are still actively growing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, can we
Right?
get to the thing that I'm still trying to remember?
Go for it.
Gender norms.
Well, very specifically, Fuzzy, what do you think of Tomo-chan as a girl? If you've heard of it.
It sounds familiar. Let me look this up.
Rom-com.
Because it's got an anime that's airing this season, and none of us on the podcast were very positive about it.
Enthused, no.
For very specific gender norms related reasons.
Let me look this up real quick. Oh, this is Oh, I thought this was like. Oh, this is not what I thought it was.
What did you think it was?
I thought it was an attempt at tackling transgender issues.
No. God, no.
No, that would
It's
be
much
interesting.
worse than that.
That might actually be interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
The point is that I got 3 minutes into the first episode of the Tomo-chan anime and stopped when the main female character's best friend told her, "It's your fault that the male protag doesn't realize you're a girl because you don't act girly enough."
Yeah, no. This is inexcusable. It's in the year of our Lord 2022
It's
that
2020.
2023.
look.
I
It's,
get it, but yeah, it's
it's 2
2023.
weeks into January. Let me have this. As I said, in the year of our Lord 2022,
I mean, if
this is inexcusable.
If you're gonna do that joke, it should be in the year of our Lord 2020.
Yes.
I mean, yes, it should, but like I do want to have. It might surprise you, but I do want to have some hope left in the world.
But yeah, I mean that's exactly.
I know.
Yeah, but yeah, that's exactly what we said when we talked about Tomo-chan. Is
Yeah,
that
and I'm sure.
like it might
it's
have
very
gotten,
popular, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yep.
it
I
got hyped up.
believe. Hold on, let me look at Mal real quick.
And it's probably
It is.
because you guys are still like somehow tolerate being in those giant servers, fandom servers. I'm sure it's very popular among a very specific
So it's
members
not
of those
super
communities.
popular on the big server that we're all on. It's kind of divisive. Also, it is the most popular new anime this season on Mal, but it's also ranked by like 7 other anime. But those are all like sequels or spin-offs or whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. Like, not a bit. This is exactly the type of like trash that people eat up. This is one of those few times where I feel perfectly justified in being condescending as possible to anyone who likes this.
But yeah, like we said on the podcast that this is a concept that might have gotten away with it, a decade and a half ago. It's not getting away with it now.
Mid-aughts at the latest.
Yeah. It's just not getting away with it anymore.
We can just look around now and see what.
Oh, boy.
Jack.
You are
You are a
roboting
robot.
really fucking hard. Will Smith is gonna try and kill you. That's what he did in iRobot, right? He tried to kill a bunch of robots.
Well, no. He tried to figure out which robot was the killer and then dispense vigilante justice.
But he killed a robot, right?
And can you get me?
You are
You
not
are
sounding
still
any better.
very robot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would leave and come back.
Yeah, it's going to do that. It's good.
But yeah, like as I said, I got
It's good now.
I got 3
Okay.
I got 3 minutes into Tomo-chan and just gave it up because I was genuinely just pissed off by that first joke.
It's just like, and the
No,
fact that
You want to hear when the manga ran from?
Go for it.
It ran from 2015 to 2019.
that's still inexcusable.
Yeah.
I mean, how many decades in the past is Japan on gender norms?
Yes.
There is no answer to that question that doesn't make me very sad. So anyway,
But yeah, because gender norms got brought up, I just wanted to see what you thought, Fuzzy. Because especially considering you gave me a surprising opinion on what was it, Ashiki Mori. Like I genuinely didn't expect you to actually like it. I'm glad you did, but
I told you I don't mind fluff in and of itself. I dislike fluff that is all fluff, no progress. Or rather, all fluff and then a confession at the end of the series. Right? A final chapter confession. I don't like when the point of a series is to build up to a confession. I've read quite a number of fluff series recently where explicitly the confession happens somewhere in the middle and then it just like continues, and you can have fluff while having an established relationship. But which is why I'm just like, it's actually why I like a lot of the Korean romance novels.
Mm.
They're very tropey, but they're usually quite well written, and because they're female led, usually they give the gender dynamics aren't terrible. Well, they're female led, and they very much are written for a very specific audience that wants their husbandos to be as whipped as possible.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, I can.
Okay. My connection is utter garbage today for some fucking reason.
I blame America,
I feel
just
like we.
like in general.
I feel like we blame America for a lot of things.
I have yet to. I will refuse to believe that any of those things thus far has been
No,
an
I
unfair blaming.
no, I agree, but I'm just saying. And what we don't blame on the Americans, we blame on the British.
Which is also very fair.
Yes, I mean, like,
We are the source of a lot of woes and ills. So
You are, correct. Well, not you personally.
you can't blame America on us, and that's the one thing you can't blame on us.
that
Yes,
is
we
actually
can.
true. I do agree. No,
Y'all fucked that situation up on your own.
yeah, Jack, you guys did kind of fight a whole war explicitly so that they wouldn't be able to blame America on the British anymore.
I mean, that said, they did still start the colonies that became America.
Yeah, but then you choked us
Yeah.
out. If you wanted us to take the blame, you should have just paid your fucking taxes.
What the hell? You are roboting on me.
I think that's
My
more
connection that bad?
Yes, I
That
think
is your on your end,
Yeah,
Jack.
I think that's you, dude.
Okay, give me a second.
Go tell whoever's downloading porn to stop it. People still do that, download porn.
So here's the weird thing. I'm pretty sure people still do in fact download porn, even though it makes no freaking sense.
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
the only reason I've ever actually bought porn was more for the memories of it. Because it was funny to me to buy porn from a Japanese convenience store.
yes, I've seen it. It
It exists, yes.
I
It was also to try and make up for that fucking incredibly disappointing Totodeku Dojin that I bought.
yes, the one that just fades to black before
Yeah.
they actually bang.
That was just so disappointing. It's not even fucking like 18 plus at that point.
Yeah, that's just like a dojin at that point.
Yeah.
Or like we're talking about the Mill's disappointing experience when he bought porn that turned out to not be porn.
Oh, that is just sad, yeah.
It's just like, why was that labeled R18? I just don't understand it.
Because it had handholding, presumably.
It might have actually. I can't remember. I can't remember.
You know what?
It's been a while since I looked at it.
Okay. You want to know the cynical answer?
Go on.
What do you want to bet that it was just marketed as R18 because it wouldn't have gotten any traction for being like yaoi
I mean, possibly.
if it wasn't?
Possibly. I have no idea what the story was, what they were saying, because can't read Japanese. They could have been having a conversation on the level of Swiss imports into Sweden for all I know.
It's a very specific thing, and I'm here to tell you I am here for it.
But yeah, it could also just be because Japan has a really fucking weird relationship with sexuality.
Oh, that's not even
That
in the
you
question.
that you can blame the Americans for.
Yep.
How so?
You're gonna have
Please do tell.
do you really want me to go into that?
Well,
Yeah, I am curious,
didn't
actually.
America have like a massive influence on Japanese culture after World War II and
After they nuked them, yes.
the
Ah,
occupation?
right.
Like
Yeah.
the Japanese did all they could to basically like appease the Americans, I think.
Yes, by it's like public nudity laws that were much more relaxed became much stricter. Basically, Japan as a whole became very much more Americanized in its relationship with sexuality. And as we all know, America's relationship with sexuality is somehow even weirder and more problematic than Japan's.
Oh, it is super fraught. Yeah.
Yeah, which makes perfect sense because that's where what the Japanese were copying.
I mean, Japan also just has this cocktail of both Western values and Eastern values.
And to be
sexuality
fair,
as well.
Those Western values because they were nuked.
No, to be fair, they've always been about having Western values before, before World War II. I wrote a fucking essay on that. Like, once they realized the world was bigger than they thought it was, and that the Dutch were not the preeminent powers in the world, which is still hilarious to me. That some fucking Dutch guy just went, "Yeah, we're fucking great. We're top dogs in this fucking on this fucking planet. You better trade and listen to us." Yeah, and then the Americans turned up and were like, "The fucking Dutch? Who the fuck are they?" Like, that still just amuses the fuck out of me. But yeah, once they realized the world was a wider place and, how prosperous the West was, they started taking notes.
Yeah, I believe Japan is probably the most westernized out of the Eastern Asian countries.
Yeah, I think the Chinese held a grudge over all that opium.
Yeah.
The Chinese held a grudge over a lot of things. Some justified, some less so.
Yeah.
I think the Chinese still hold a grudge in a lot of regards.
Yeah, but we don't talk about current events.
Mm-hmm.
I will say the opium, that was our fault. You can blame us for that one.
But yeah, this is a very interesting
how the fuck did we get here again?
No.
Shotas, then
I mean,
power scaling.
We were talking about Japanese porn.
The modern shonen problem. No, I'm lining it up for you. Pervy shotas led us to power levels, which led us to the shonen endings in recent memory, which led us to an aside on gender norms, which led us to Japan's relationship with sexuality, which of course led us to World War II.
Just everything leads to World War II in the end.
It's like that. How many Wikipedia clicks does it take before you hit Hitler? Is that still a thing?
Surprisingly few, as it turns out.
I'm just trying to piece together, how do we jump from gender norms to Japanese porn?
Because we talked about Japan's relationship with sexuality.
Oh, yes, that's right. We did, didn't we? Yeah, we did.
It's a pretty quick transition, honestly.
Yeah.
Also, quick side note, but slightly tangentially related. It is irritating to me how a good chunk of the LGBTQ plus tag on Steam is filled with absolute garbage porn.
Yeah, it is mostly porn, isn't it?
Not mostly, but I'd say a good, like, 30, 40, 50% maybe of that particular tag.
I feel like that's that counts as mostly in most circles.
Not most, but almost, but a little less than half.
I mean, to be fair, I know that there is a good porn game on Steam under the LGBTQ tag, so there's at least one good one there.
There are a couple. Some
Wait,
of
is
them
this
only
the one with
barely
the bar
fall
of
under.
soda? Or is it the camp one?
Camp one.
Are you remotely surprised, Fuzzy?
I'm not surprised. I've seen Mills Shodas quite frequently.
I'd still argue they're more twigs, but you know, you do you.
There's a certain
Crossover.
there's a certain crossover, yes, but like the shorts,
You
like
can't call everyone in shorts a shoulder.
no, but it's not about the shorts. It's about how they look in the shorts, and like not all twinks look like that in shorts, Mill. It's a proportions thing, I think.
Yeah, proportions definitely.
I think generally the twinks tend to be a bit more lanky, a bit
Yes.
longer. Very long boys. If you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
Can we save?
Yaoi hand's optional.
We should probably save this for February.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
yes, but also, I was just like, I apologize if I was making you uncomfortable, Mel.
Just a little bit.
Mhm.
Okay, let's talk about something less
Oh.
uncomfortable. Have you, Jack? I know
What?
you said that the majority of the LGBT plus tag on Steam is porn games, but
Top-rated one is actually Valhalla, which isn't porn, fortunately.
okay, no, but has it occurred to you to check what percentage of those are furry porn games?
Oh, I can tell you a good chunk of them are.
It's one of those things where do you think it's problematic that we as a society have like sort of decided that these two sexual preferences are equally niche despite the fact that like I it's troubling to me that a lot of the time it's taken for granted that like oh yes the furries and like are representative of the LGBT community as a whole, and
I mean, I think it's
I have
more of a thing
nothing
of
against
just
furries.
the diagram having a particularly large overlap.
And that's the thing though, I don't think the overlap is as large as I think that the amount of overlap present in the media, and by media I mean like the various like art forms, is higher than the actual amount of overlap that exists.
Perhaps.
I mean,
I will
I think
say,
what it is,
I do think
Fuzzy, is that, you know, queer people are just more likely to be open to exploration and finding their kinks than straight people are.
yeah, straight people can and often are very repressed in regards to their sexuality.
What? Straight people repressed? What?
You're good at hiding your sarcasm there, Fuzzy.
Uh, it
Not that
would
I
be
can blame
funny
you.
if it wasn't. It would be funny if it didn't lead to so many
Problems? Yes.
problems in society. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Also, I'm pretty sure that a good chunk of the games in the LGBTQ plus tag are just like porn games that have like one or two girl on girl scenes in them, and that's it.
Yeah, that is the egregious part, right? It's like
That
I
alone should
feel
not
that
be enough to net a game that tag.
Mm.
yeah,
I feel.
I have no problem with there being like a particularly high number of porn games in a given category. Like I am, you know me, I'm always of the opinion that people should be able to have a wide variety of JO material, even though I don't really feel comfortable with it myself. I'm never gonna deny people that freedom.
Yeah, teach their own, all that
Yes.
jazz.
However, I do feel that it's like that's not an that's not like giving them carte blanche to just claim that tag for the slightest little thing.
Yeah, I mean it goes both ways. Like just having like one scene of two girls getting a little bit frisky in a game that's otherwise like 99% straight porn, it should not allow it to be like filtered into the tag for like
Is that
queer focused
is
games.
that Yuri baiting?
I don't know if it's Yuri baiting so much as just like the classic girl on
It's
girl is hot type thing that's
it's
present
more
on
Because
them.
I would I would
it's trying to get people interested in something that's straight by teasing them with something that's gay.
I mean, I guess it does qualify
well no, I think
to a degree.
it's less Yuri baiting. Yuri baiting, it's not Yuri baiting, but it's Yuri baiting in that it's using the Yuri as bait.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make any sense? It made sense in my head.
I mean, sort of.
No,
Like,
no,
I
it's
think I understand what you're getting at, Fuzzy, but I think
But
like
it's
is
not
that
like no. I would classify Yuri bait is something where they like make it look queer baiting in general is where they make it look gay and then end up having it be straight. I'm not even talking about like as much as I'd like to call stuff like
Starlight?
Starlight uh Yuri bait. I do have enough self-awareness to realize that it's actually not,
mm-hmm.
right? It's like there's much worse things
Mm. Oh
that
no,
deserve that
there
mantle.
absolutely are. Yeah.
But that does not mean to say that I like it anymore, but like anyway, that aside, I would say that for it to count as baiting, it has to like not actually have it at all.
Fair.
Like Sherlock.
Uh, Sherlock is a very
Sherlock is
wait.
absolutely queer bait.
Which Sherlock? Because there's a
The
lot.
BBC one.
Ooh, yeah. It honestly kind of is.
There's no kinda about it. Like so much of the
Only-
marketing and the jokey relationship between the characters is like textbook queer baiting.
Okay, so
The on-
I'm gonna suggest a BBC show that's a better example of that than Sherlock. Merlin.
Oh,
Did you say Merlin?
Merlin.
Mill?
Yes.
Oh God.
BBC's Merlin
Don't.
series.
okay. So
I-
I'm gonna show you guys something real quick because
Because I'm
as soon as I pull it up.
Because I like when I troll through the Instagram Explore tab, I still see people talking about Merlin. And how gay it was, but also how baity it was.
No, it was 100% bait. It was like okay, it was less bait. It was more like mid 2000s teenage drama levels of.
Okay, I'm gonna post a link in the chat real quick. The fucking image for this is from BBC Sherlock.
No, okay, I never managed to finish my thought on that. The only reason I would not necessarily call it queerbaiting is because Sherlock definitely presented more as Arrow Ace early on.
Hmm.
He
No,
also like
I disagree with you if it weren't for the fact that the creators seem to like hinting that Sherlock was straight and just a sociopath who doesn't express affection well. Which, sidebar, can we just not have, like, detectives be defined as being, like, super smart but also super uncaring and cold and all sorts of dickish attitudes bundled into a thing? Can we go back to actually having, like, detectives who are good, compassionate people?
that would
Like the
require that.
original written Sherlock stories?
Okay, original written Sherlock stories varied wildly in how compassionate Sherlock was.
Still better than BBC Sherlock.
BBC Sherlock did end up much more. Look, I have a soft spot for BBC Sherlock, so I'm perhaps defending it more than it deserves. But I do believe that it did more.
I like
Huh?
that. I like that show based more on the chemistry between Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman than I do anything else.
They do have good chemistry, and they are both good actors. I will not deny that.
They
All that
absolutely
being
should have
said,
been making out constantly.
yes.
But like, it was also like long enough ago that it's just like, yeah, I get it. I don't like it, but I get it.
What I do. Fuzzy, have you seen the Knives Out movies?
I've seen Glass Onion. I haven't actually watched the original Knives Out because it wasn't on any of the streaming services I have.
Isn't it on Netflix?
That's fair. No, the first one's not on Netflix.
Oh, that sucks. Why is
Yeah,
it not
it's
on
weird.
Netflix?
What is it even on?
Let me look, actually.
Because yeah, I watched it, but yeah, I really, really like that series. I just like there's something about Daniel Craig of all people doing the thick Southern accent that it just like confuses me in ways I did not know I could be confused.
I mean, what the actor trope that I like, I mean, I call it a trope, but just like actor trend that I like is, guy who's actor who's made for life and then just gets to do the weird, crazy bullshit that they enjoy.
Yeah, Craig has essentially succeeded in bankrolling his entire life with Bond at this point, hasn't he?
Basically.
I imagine he probably just got like really tired of playing, fairly dour super spy Bond.
Yeah. No,
Now,
he did.
Now he's just getting to go fucking ham.
Yeah. So Knives Out is not available on a streaming service for like free. You can only rent or buy it from Voodoo, Amazon, and iTunes.
I don't know if this is true, but I'm pretty sure it is. It was available on streaming services, then it got pulled.
A lot. That's the case with a lot of movies.
Buy physical media.
I mean, I have the Blu-ray DVD from Knives Out, so I'm fine there.
I'm just saying, buy physical media.
Oh, I'm of the opinion that like look, Knives Out made enough movies, everyone got paid, pirate that shit at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Is there like almost a statute of limitations where you go, alright, this, me buying this isn't really going to provide that much more money for the people involved. It's just going to go to the pocket of executives. I'm a pirate that.
Yes, I think that is the I think that is the line, and usually that line, once it's out of theaters, basically the only people who benefit are execs.
Not. It depends because it depends on the contracts. A lot of at least like the directors and the main stars, and other major staff members do get residuals off of home video sales, which is why the
Well, the
streaming
thing is,
service
here's the thing, though.
situation has been bad for a lot of people.
Here's the thing, though. The people who get residuals are usually the people who don't really need the residuals.
Funny thing about residuals, actually, that's part of the reason that a lot of the series have been getting canceled and or removed from streaming services lately, because execs don't want to pay the residuals to the people who made those shows.
Oh yeah, but that's because the execs are evil. Like, just...
Oh no, execs are monsters, and all of them should have a nice date with Mr. Guillotine.
But yeah, I do feel like a lot of the time, like, you can always look into who makes residuals, but for me, I just assume, and this is usually a safe assumption, that the people who get the residuals are generally not strapped for cash.
Well, on the flip side, a lot of people do depend on residuals to make a living, which is why the whole thing with streaming services and stuff being both removed from them and just not being broadcast anymore has been so devastating.
To be fair,
for a lot
Jack,
of them.
I think there's a difference between, you know, a small, relatively niche animated series and a big film like Knives Out.
Oh, another thing I've seen with regard to Knives Out, and Glassline in particular, is a lot of people have been saying, like, have been criticizing Ryan Johnson for roasting Elon Musk by proxy, saying,
No.
like, he's
So you mean
roasting
the best
someone.
part of the... So you mean the best part of the movie?
Yeah. Some people have been criticizing him, saying, like, oh, you're just like Elon Musk. And it's like, no, Ryan Johnson is not anywhere near like Elon Musk.
Well, the people
Ryan Johnson is maybe a low-level millionaire at most. Elon Musk is
you don't understand.
ludicrously fuck you rich.
No, I think I get see where they're coming from, and this is so many layers of delusional that it's going to make you laugh and cry at the same time. They're trying to imply that Ryan Johnson is talented, and so is Elon Musk.
Or are they being dumb and accident? Because these are also, you know, the types of peoples who hated Last Jedi and think Ryan Johnson is a hack. So are they, like, accidentally insulting Musk?
No, funny thing is, I've seen a lot of people respond to Ryan Johnson saying that he's not a one-to-one for Musk, and they're responding, no, that's definitely Elon. We know because we're fans of Elon.
I mean, that's, you know...
It's that one meme all over again, isn't it? It's, that's there's a subreddit. Well, there's two: werewolves or self-aware wolves, and leopard ate my face.
Yeah. Speaking
Elon...
of leopards eating faces, I just want to get this out there. So, have you heard what's happening in the UK politics-wise at the moment?
Only bits and pieces. Please elaborate.
I don't know if I want to, but I'm morbidly curious.
So basically, Scotland, which has to an extent, a devolved parliament, passed basically a revamp of gender recognition certificates. And the Tories were so fucking, like, upset about this that they are actually going through with a veto, or trying to veto it, which they are technically allowed to do, but only in very specific circumstances, and this is not one of them.
So this can only backfire, I assume.
No, it absolutely can. There is no way this ends well for the Tories, but they're doing it anyway because they are just so bigoted.
Yeah, like I said, this can only backfire.
But the point is that now the few gender critical SMP MPs suddenly have to realize, oh, I've been helping these people. Oh,
Wait, are the
because the whole
is
point,
gender
the whole
critical the dick bags or is it the other
dick
people?
bags,
The dick bags.
Okay, yes. Let's call them what they are, bigots.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't dignify it by using their terms.
But yeah, like, because SMP's whole thing is independent Scotland, and English Parliament being able to veto their laws is about as far from independent Scotland as you can get. So they're now having to basically be like, we don't want this GRC revamp to pass, but we also don't want England interfering. Oh God, what do we do? But it is it is whole.
Fucked up.
It is it is wholly a case of, oh God, I've been supporting the leopards eating my face party, and now the leopards are eating my face.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
yes, no, that's what the Elon Musk situation was. Also,
I
look,
do want to finish my point earlier,
yes.
which was people were saying that that Ryan Johnson shouldn't be criticizing Elon Musk because he's in the same social class, which is very much not the case. If you look at a comparison of the wealth of a millionaire versus a billionaire versus someone like Elon Musk,
It's a qualitative difference. It's not quantitative. It's not quantitative anymore at that point.
it is just an obscene difference. Like, you cannot put them in the same class of, like, the same financial class at all. There's just such a massive gulf of difference. Like, again, Ryan Johnson is not, fuck you, I can shift nations rich like Elon is.
Fuck you, I can buy Twitter and ruin it, Rich.
Yeah. Well, he's fucking himself over with that.
He
has
absolutely is.
$200 billion of net worth.
I'm fairly sure
That's
bigger
more than some country.
I was gonna say, I'm fairly sure that's bigger than quite a few countries' GDP.
You know
It
what's?
is.
Here's the thing, though. Do you know what's just criminal? The most criminal about that?
What?
What?
The fact that even that's not really enough to make him feel it.
Yeah.
That's the worst part of that.
To be fair, his net worth is substantially down, and he is getting very desperate.
Isn't he also in, like, quite a bit of actual debt?
Yes. He is.
And also, the worst, because he's attached Tesla to his image so much, the worse he looks, the worse Tesla looks.
Tesla's stock has already plummeted.
Which is so funny because he has nothing to do with Tesla, really.
No, he really didn't. He just
like his
bankrolled
biggest claim to fame, and it's like he just bought the company.
But the point is that he has made it, Elon Musk's Teslas.
Yeah.
And so when Elon Musk looks like a fucking idiot, like he is, that makes people go, huh, Elon Musk's Teslas probably aren't that good now, are they? Which, they
Teslas
are.
actually are kind of crap.
Yeah, I mean, they're not that good anyway, but the point is that people didn't realize that.
Yeah, but they probably should have.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I have another comment on the Elon Musk parody. Low-key, Ed Norton was such a good choice.
Oh, he was.
No, not for the reasons you think. I agree. He is an excellent actor, but he's also kind of just a dick.
I mean, he is. At the same time, you are used to seeing him play, like, this intelligent, sophisticated asshole character, and it's like, you think that's what the character is. He is an asshole, but he's intelligent, sophisticated, and no, he's a fucking clueless dumbass.
I just like the. Okay, I will say, I did not like the ending of the Glass Onion.
I've not watched it.
Really? We
Hmm?
won't spoil it.
I've not watched it, and I kind of do want to watch it.
We'll not go into detail then.
I'm not sure when I'll find the time to do it, or the the attention span, but
It's a good movie, honestly.
my
I
attention.
like the ending, but I don't think we can really discuss it without spoiling you.
My attention span is wildly varying. Like, as I said, I'm not sure whether I would have the attention span to watch Glass Onion. At the same time, I did watch
It's
one of
pretty
the
snappy.
did watch one of the Scooby Doo direct home video movies last night. So,
Which one?
Mummy's Curse.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh God, was that the one where they like?
That was the one where Velma was actually the one in the costume.
Oh, that's wild.
That's not the one I was thinking of.
You're thinking of Witch's Curse, weren't you? Or Witch's
No,
Ghost?
I was thinking of the one where Shaggy and Scooby get girlfriends who turn out to be aliens.
No, definitely not that one. In this one, Shaggy and Scooby turn out to be maybe prophesized pharaoh and manservant.
Okay, if I remember that, and I actually do remember being mad. Do you know why I was mad? I was mad for a very specific reason. I bet you can guess it.
I can't. Go on.
I was mad because what? Wait, no. Was Shaggy the prophesized pharaoh, or
no,
was it Scooby?
Scooby was a Scoobus.
Right. Okay, never mind.
Oh, that's funny.
I was mad about a different one.
Yeah.
I was very happy that Scooby was the prophesized pharaoh.
Yeah. No, Shaggy was his manservant.
Which is just
That's
reflective
funny.
of reality, honestly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Honestly, as a dog owner, that's just what people's relationships with their dogs end up becoming.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm currently squeezed into like a corner of my bed because my dog is currently stretched diagonally across it, taking the maximum amount of area possible.
I mean, that's just dogs.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's sort of interesting, isn't it? Like, we all think of cats as the manipulative pet, but dogs are sort of more insidious about it.
Well, no, that's the thing. Dogs aren't insidious. They're just like stupid and lovable. It's like
I mean, yeah, if
cats
they
try to. Dogs do without trying what cats don't even need to try. Or the other way around. Or look, I'm tired and I didn't sleep last night. But yeah, the
Also,
dogs
though,
are kind of.
Like, I will say, this might just be my opinion, but the best Scooby-Doo direct-to-video films are the first two, in my opinion. Zombie Island and Witch's Ghost.
Witch's Ghost is good
Zombie
because
Island was controversial to me as a child. Because I was like, wait a second. If there are actual monsters in the world, does that not invalidate and also sort of like completely shift the perspective of every previous Scooby-Doo property?
Not necessarily, because it's still a bunch of rich assholes dressing up as ghosts to scare people and steal stuff.
But also there's like actual demons and zombies and stuff.
Oh, Alien Invaders and Cyber Chase were also early Scooby-Doo movies.
I
I love those ones.
No, I still remember Cyber Chase very fondly. Very
Cyber
fondly.
Chase is-
I know people really dislike it for some reason.
I don't get
I
that.
think it's
Cyber Chase
because
is awesome.
no, I think people dislike Cyber Chase because it's like, it was before its time. Because like they weren't ready for VR.
It has aged very well. In some regards, anyways.
I mean, I just still think fondly of Scooby-Doo in general. Like that
Scooby-Doo is great.
that shit was the cartoon of my childhood
Does
more than
anyone
any other.
remember? And this is something that none of us were alive when it was airing. Does anyone remember the Red Shirt Shaggy series in which it was just Shaggy, Velma, and Scooby,
No,
and
not
this weird knockoff Doctor Strange?
no. It wasn't Velma. It was Daphne. It was 13 Ghosts, and yes, I absolutely
Yes.
remember it. And
I remember 13 Ghosts.
I fucking loved that shit.
It was
liked
amazing.
I
And
liked Flim Flam
also-
and Vincent
It was
Van
only
Dool.
13 episodes.
Yeah. No, it was only 12 episodes. It was supposed to be 13 episodes, but they cancelled it before the final one. So they only
it's
caught
such
12.
bullshit.
They only caught
You know-
12 of
you
the
know what's-
13 ghosts.
There were two ones that I grew up with in particular. No, like three. It was the original one, of course. It was pup named Scooby Doo,
Mhm.
and
I
new Scooby-Doo?
really. So, A Pup Named Scooby Doo, I had a love hate relationship with that series.
I really enjoyed it for what it was.
Mm.
It frustrated me at times. And this was when I was like a 5-year-old,
Mm.
or like however
Mm-hmm.
old I was when I was watching. I was like a babby, and it still frustrated me because it just like some of those moments did feel. Some of those I have no idea how they got away with, because I'm pretty sure they had like an Al Capone analog in one episode. But like some of the moments were just like they just felt like it was too dumb for me. Even as a literal infant, some of those moments were too dumb.
Hmm.
Also, I feel that the character of Red Herring was completely unnecessary.
I liked the gag for what it was.
The gag was funny the first 2 or 3 times. The fact that it happened multiple times an episode very rapidly just drove me off the wall.
Hmm. That's fair.
Now the
You know
one,
what?
the
You
one.
know what? Scooby Doo property absolutely slapped though.
Mystery
Scooby Doo and the
Inc.
Ghoul School.
Oh, Ghoul School. Ghoul School was also.
We've
good.
already established this is not the first time we've talked about Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School, and how that is probably what awakened the Monster Girl fetish in an entire generation.
Just like Witch's Ghost is what awakened a lot of people to goth girls. But with the
Which
hex
is-
girls,
Yeah, no, look, we don't talk about the Hex Girls.
Why not?
yes we do.
We don't talk about the Hex Girls because that just leads you down a rabbit hole that you save for the horny episode.
Fair. You know what?
Fine.
You know what? Fair. I'll give you that. Though the other
Yeah.
one, the other one on my Goth Girl awakening was Sam from Danny Phantom.
See, mine was Raven from Titans.
I never watched Danny Phantom. I think Danny Phantom is probably the only major show of that era that I never watched.
I didn't really watch much of Danny Phantom either. Never really my thing.
There's a
I did
specific
have a
reason
really
in my
odd
case,
theory.
is that I was not a Nickelodeon kid growing up.
I was also more of a Cartoon Network kid than a Nickelodeon kid.
That's where we differed. I was.
Entirely by choice, I think. I just didn't have Nickelodeon for a while.
No,
like
that's
my
where
cable
we.
package.
That's where we differed. I was very much more of a Nickelodeon and Nicktoons kid than I was Cartoon Network.
Look,
Yeah.
I grew up on Kenan and Kel.
I grew up on iCarly.
Oh, I'm so sorry. No.
To be fair,
No,
I
it's-
started watching it because I liked Miranda Cosgrove from Drake and Josh, which, again, childhood, and School of Rock with Jack Black,
Do I hear something really fucked up?
which is still a
Or
good
that
movie,
you guys will
by
fucked
the
up?
way. Go on.
I never watched Drake and Josh.
That's not that strange. I would not have, if not for the fact that it was reruns all the time on Nickelodeon where I was.
Yeah, I didn't really watch much of Nickelodeon outside the cartoons. And even then,
I mean, what is, sort of, like, terrible about me and Drake and Josh is that at my grandparents' house, there were VCRs of Drake and Josh.
Oof.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Oh, by the way, was the weird, sort of gritty reboot of iCarly any good?
No.
Never watched it.
I mean, iCarly has to be good in the first place. And
Okay, yes, fair.
how often has gritty reboot of something actually worked? And actually been
Very, very,
good?
very, very rarely, to the point that I cannot think of any examples off the top of my head.
Apparently, people really like Riverdale.
Those people are weird.
What's that a
I
gritty
am judging them
reboot
super
of?
hard. It is not a reboot per se. It is a gritty adaptation of the Archie comics.
Oh,
Okay, but do you know what is like actually good?
go
What?
on.
There was a series called Archie's Weird Mysteries.
Oh, I might have heard of that one.
That was real fun. There was an episode where Jughead became a literal host for a potato, among
Lovely.
other things. There was an episode that featured Nightmare Santa. Is basically there was also a weird series of episodes where they became vampire hunters, like unironically.
I mean, I'm not shocked.
But also they had like cyberpunk bodysuits that made them all look buff while they were hunting the vampires.
I mean, of
It
course.
was like it was a drug trip of a show that could only have come out in the late 90s, early 2000s under the influence of a lot of cocaine.
I mean, that's a lot of shows.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, Archie's Weird Mysteries has a special place in my heart because it was like you know what it was? It was Archie Comics meets Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Oh, I remember Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Yeah.
We all remember Courage the Cowardly Dog, and not necessarily by choice.
I mean, that dog had a right to be fucking cowardly.
Mm-hmm.
The dog wasn't even cowardly! That's the thing! There is no definition of cowardly under which courage falls. I guarantee you, anyone mocking the dog for being cowardly would literally defecate themselves and punch their own ticket the moment they were in even one of the milder situations.
Okay, you know what was a really good classic Cartoon Network show was Dexter's Lab.
Dexter's Lab frustrated me.
Again, that's
Was
what
it
I
because of
mostly
Dee Dee?
missed.
Yeah, it was because there was look, I get it. Dexter was a bit of a jerk, but not to the extent that he deserved Dee Dee.
Mm.
No one deserves Dee Dee.
Mm. Oh yeah, Ed, Edd and Eddy was also a classic on the Cartoon Network block when I was growing up.
Yep.
I had a weird relationship with Ed, Edd and Eddy. It's like I think Ed, Edd and Eddy was the first show that frustrated me enough to think up Fix.
Dang.
Mel, any comment on that?
No, I mean, my relationship with Ed, Edd and Eddy is one of I know I watched it at some point, but I barely remember it.
Mm. So when I was growing up, the stuff I watched on Cartoon Network, basically started what the earliest show I watched was the earliest starting shows, anyways, that I watched were Dexter's Lab and Powerpuff Girls and Johnny Bravo. Those are the oldest ones. I dropped off Cartoon Network around the time, basically right before Adventure Time started airing. When I was like 15 or so.
Do either of you remember the life and times of Juniper Lee?
I do, actually. I remember watching a few episodes of that here and there.
It was very ahead of its time.
It was actually pretty damn good, yeah.
It's quite good, and it was like, it was like surprisingly culturally sensitive.
Yeah.
Which it's sad that that's surprising, but like, as much as I love Samurai Jack, it's not exactly a cultural touchstone.
Lifetime's Juniper Lee also was kind of like a spiritual successor of Jackie Chan Adventures.
Oh god, I miss Jackie Chan Adventures.
That was such a good show.
It was better than it had any right to be.
Agreed.
It was the best shonen anime for years. At least the best shonen anime that I watched for years on end. Oh yeah, but Mill, on the subject of fanfiction,
Yeah.
would you like to know, and this is some of my darkest history, would you like to know what my very first combination of OC and or fanfiction in general was?
Go for it.
I took a frickin' OC, or rather, I took a character from Beyblade and stuck him in Pokemon as an OC.
Oh, that's too funny.
And not only was it a character in Beyblade, it wasn't one of the main characters.
Oh boy.
It was the throwaway rival character, the equivalent of Terra from Teen Titans, the show. Not the Judas Contract. Where the character showed up for like a few episodes, but I really, really liked the design. So I was like, I'm gonna make that my son. Who is now a Pokemon trainer and like has a full team of legendaries because I was a scrub lord like that.
I mean, I don't judge too harshly because my first adventures in writing were all basically fanfiction before I knew what fanfiction was.
My first creative writing assignment was basically just a ripoff of Teen Titans.
There's worse things to rip off.
I mean,
Yeah.
the first two major things I wrote were just like Codex Alera ripoffs.
So that makes me feel like you started later than we did.
Yeah.
When did you guys start?
When
fifth
those
grade.
shows were current. When
Yeah.
like first season of Beyblade and like
Give me an age. I don't remember
I
when
was
those
like
shows
10.
were current.
I was like 4 or 5.
Okay, I definitely
No, my
started.
first creative writing assignment was in 3rd grade when I was like 8.
I mean, I started when I was like 9, 10-ish.
I feel like most writers start to some degree at around that age.
I mean, I started because when I was in year 5 of primary school, like a teacher just started a creative writing club. Yeah, it was.
I didn't have that. I started because I had no friends and was bullied, so I was
I
like...
mean, I joined the club because I had no friends and was bullied. So, I also joined.
This was also a pre-autism diagnosis for me, so I had no idea what was wrong with me.
I also joined a stop-motion animation club, if I recall correctly. That was pretty fun.
That sounds fun.
Too much work.
I mean, so it was partly like physical stop motion, and there was actually part of it that was like computer based. So I remember I did a retelling of St. George and the Dragon, I think, where I think I had the dragon win. Yeah, I think the dragon won.
Look, the dragon was just minding its own business, honestly. That's probably not true.
No, I'm fairly sure the
but
dragon was killing people.
Yeah, it was definitely killing people.
The Christians
were
like to take the
they-
moral high ground wherever they can. And even when they can't sometimes.
See, you never hear about a dragon that exclusively killed the nobility and, like, did nothing to the peasantry.
No. Unfortunately, those weren't in fairy tales. None that I can remember, anyways.
Are we going to talk about the fact that dragons apparently have a virgin complex? And I also recently learned that that's the name for that.
No, I was actually going to
What?
start talking about the one original thing I wrote when I was a young Babu rider.
Go on.
It was a very short story based on the fact that the teacher who started the creative writing club had a name that was hard for young children to pronounce. Because his name was Mr. Roebuck Rouse. And so he got a lot of Mr. Robot House, Mr. Robot Mouse, Mr. Mountain
That's, like,
Game.
That's hard for me to pronounce. Like, it's not just hard for, like, young children. Don't, like, lump us all into the same category. Some adults have poor vocabulary. Look.
But yeah, so I wrote a
fine.
story that was called The Giant Evil Robot Mouse. It was not profound. I introduced time travel for some reason.
Look. It's good that you made that mistake early.
And I think the solution at the end was just chucking a regular house cat at it.
That's also, like, a better ending than most people in the modern era can come up with. So, okay, here's an interesting factoid.
Mm.
I don't think I have an original creative bone in my body.
Now, you don't have to be original to be creative.
Well, no. What I mean is, my ideas come from two sources: dreams and what is essentially, I've realized that I can't make fun of the author of 50 Shades of Grey for writing Twilight fanfiction, because essentially my process is finding a story I like and then being like, I'm gonna write that with the names changed, and then it kind of just mutates into this thing until it is, and it's basically a game, a single player game of telephone that eventually mutates it into something that is completely different from the source material. But if you know but there is an exact logical sequence that gets you from the source material to my material. It's just, it only makes sense in my brain. And the dreams don't count. So I don't think I've ever consciously made my own thing.
I mean, I think it is, hard to come up with something wholly original nowadays, but
Yeah,
honestly,
wholly original doesn't exist, but
yeah. But honestly,
what I'm trying to...
I feel like I
Go
do
ahead.
like something similar, because I feel like a lot of my ideas, come from the media that I experience is probably not the right word, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's a case of taking this particular plot point or character or power and making it my own.
That's what I do a lot of the time.
I still worry that somebody's gonna read it and go, wait, isn't this just so and so from so and so? And I'm like, shit, I'm gonna get sued. But at the end of the day, what I really struggle to realize when I'm writing is that because the people reading it do not have the info that I have, and the fact that my brain just goes in strange directions anyway, they won't make the same connections that I do.
So here's what I mean when I say I have never done something original, is that I've never started from a blank slate. Like, I'm not talking about like the originality of the ideas, but what I'm trying to say is I've never built a world from zero. I've always started with an existing world or character or story and then applied mutations and modifications to that as opposed to building something from the ground up.
Again, same.
It's why I do have a great deal of respect for the people who do build things from the ground up, right? Like, I may not agree with a lot of their general everything, uh, but, like, I still respect Sanderson for building things from the ground up. I still respect Butcher from building things from the ground up, because, like, yes, all works are inherently derivative, but you can usually tell, or at least to me, it feels like I might just be having that issue that you just described, where I have info that none of the readers would, but it feels like I can tell the difference between a work that is solely derivative and a work where at least you started with a blank canvas. Or not even, like, it's very hard to articulate, and this is why I'm not a professional writer as much as I want to be, but I do feel like there's just something missing from purely derivative work that other authors have, and I'm not sure how to emulate that.
To be fair, it's a hard heckin' thing to emulate.
I imagine it's also just a lot of practice. Put the hours in.
I mean, my
Talent.
issue is that sometimes even when I think I'm actually coming up with something I believe is original, I'll then go back and watch or read something and go, oh shit, that was where I got that idea from.
Well,
I don't
in some
think that
cases,
counts.
it's also just convergent evolution
Yes.
as well.
First of all, convergent evolution is a thing, and I get convergent evolution constantly because I'm not published because I haven't written enough. But convergent evolution is a thing, and I think the subconscious mind is never going to be under control. So I do think it counts as an original work if only the subconscious mind remembered and the conscious mind was not engaged in that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, my point is, Fuzzy, is I understand how you feel. Like, I do feel the same. Like, of the two novels I have, partially written, the first one was, like, based off of my feelings after reading one of the Dragon Age novels. And the other one was based.
I have read that one, and that was somewhat apparent.
Yep. And the one that I'm writing right now is spawned from the concept of a My Hero fanfic that I really like.
I mean, theft is how the literary world operates.
Yep.
So, okay. Is it just me, or are y'all dreading Stormlight 5 as much as I am?
You forget, I've not read Stormlight 4.
Have you just, given up on Stormlight then?
No, I haven't. I just need to find the right time and mood. What I'm probably gonna end up actually doing, because I'm listening to audiobooks so much more now, because I'm, obviously doing delivery driving, I'm probably just gonna get them as audiobooks.
Yeah, just, take the 40 hours or whatever it is to listen to the audiobooks for
Mm.
a few weeks straight.
Yeah. I mean, at the
I
moment,
mean, that's how I got through the Wheel of Time.
I'm listening to the Fellowship of the Ring audiobook,
Oh, that's good.
read by Andy Serkis.
I listened to
Oh,
The
that is
Hobbit
such
as
an
read by
appropriate.
Andy Serkis.
That is incredibly appropriate.
Yeah.
I'm fairly sure he's also trying to do imitate the accents of the actors from the live action films for Sam, Merry, and Pippin.
Maybe. I
I
know he
mean,
did imitate the Hobbit Bilbo's Hobbit accent in the Hobbit audiobook.
so he didn't just try to sound like Martin Freeman. This is Martin Freeman, right?
Yeah, Martin Freeman.
It was Martin Freeman, yes.
No, I'm always like, is his name Martin Freeman or Michael Freeman?
No, it's Martin.
Martin Freeman.
It's a Sheen situation. But yeah, I'm like, is Martin Freeman the most generic British man?
I'd like to say no, but I can't say for certain.
He played Bilbo Baggins, he plays Watson, he played Arthur Dent.
He's the token white
Oh,
guy
shit.
in the Black Panther films.
Yep.
That one doesn't count because he did an American accent for it. I do find it funny that both Sherlock actors are doing a weird American accent for the MCU.
I just find it funny to call him the token white guy.
Yep.
I mean, he is. I'm still upset that Disney is both cowardly and evil, and therefore will not make Winter Soldier X Falcon a thing.
Yep. Be expected, honestly.
Yeah, obviously they're never gonna do it, but it's just like they have so much sexual tension.
Yep.
Also, we hit 2 hours, so
We honestly are good to go for a while, but we should try and keep it regimented. So yeah, this is fun though. I like doing these because it's good content first of all, because listening to random people ranting on the internet is how most of the internet functions nowadays. But also, it's just like relaxing and low maintenance for us. At least I feel with that.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to just shoot the shit while playing a game, you know?
Yeah.
Especially a game that you can just kind of put on the background.
That's sad. I can literally play this game damn near in my sleep.
Yeah,
I
Civ
know
would have
that-
been too involved for detailed discussion.
I've played this game for, oh god, how long is it now? 16 years. I know the ins and outs of it.
I would say that you have a problem, but I'm a Kingdom Hearts fan, so I have no right to say anything.
Look, I'll stop playing it when they come out with a good rugby game. Until then,
That's how I felt about Kingdom Hearts 2. Well, I told myself I'd stop playing Kingdom Hearts 2 when they came out with Kingdom Hearts 3, which did end up coming true. But no, we still need to take you on your Kingdom Hearts ride.
I have a feeling I'm gonna end up feeling the same way about it as I do Mass Effect, though.
I don't think so, for one very simple reason. I'm probably going to be piloting most of it.
Hmm.
So you
So
can just
is
like
it-
sit back and watch.
Here's the thing: if
I
I wanted
do-
to, if I wanted to do that, though, I'd just watch TFS do it.
Hmm.
Like,
If I'm gonna go through Kingdom Hearts, I kind of want to be the one playing it. Like, even if I'm not gonna
that's
enjoy
fair.
the first,
No, I do
half of
think
it.
you definitely need to just watch the TFS playthrough of Kingdom Hearts 1.
Yeah, no, and that's
Kingdom Hearts 1
know,
is just a bad game. It
yeah,
kind of just is.
and
It was a
that's
game that by the sheer force of its gimmick, by the unholy union of Mickey Mouse and Tetsuya Nomura, managed to get a sequel, and that's when it got good. Well, you make an argument that it got good in Chain of Memories, but like that's a more complicated story.
But yeah, the point is that yes, if/when I go back to the Kingdom Hearts franchise, that is what I'm going to do. I'm just gonna watch.
I think you'll have more fun with it for a very simple reason.
Mm.
It's much more mindless fun
Mm.
than the Mass Effect games. It's basically mashing X between cutscenes.
Yeah.
Mass Effect does require a little bit more intricate gameplay than that.
And honestly, the AI teammates are surprisingly solid.
Mm. Also, the Mass Effect.
Yes, actually, because once you figure out how to set the customizations of Donald's AI, he actually is a fairly competent healer and like does solid damage. And Goofy similarly is a surprisingly good tank.
Mm.
Like, I feel like people don't give the AI in those games enough credit. Well, it's not so much the AI as it is the design of the companion characters.
Mm.
Hmm.
I think I think it's an issue that one of the issues that Mass Effect runs into is that because huh?
Nothing, go on.
One of the many issues that Mass Effect can run into is that because all of the companions are based on builds that the player can have, they have to be balanced around they all have to be balanced around a human controller. Like, do you get what I mean?
Mm.
Because like
Kinda.
you can't give a character abilities that are, you either have to give them their own unique builds or you have to rebalance the player character builds to avoid making them overpowered.
Hmm.
Which ends up it becomes a balance issue.
Mm.
Whereas in the Kingdom Hearts games and like a lot of JRPGs, really, party members are all kind of have their own builds,
Mm.
and it's balanced around that. Like, it's balanced around an AI playing that build as opposed to being balanced around a player playing that build.
I also think it's a more of a broader issue with Western RPGs because a lot of them do have the character, the player character, not the player characters, the companion characters that have builds similar to the player.
Yeah,
I don't
and
think
you
it's
know
just
what?
exclusive to Mass Effect.
It's the classic stand-based magic system versus generalized magic system issue.
Mm-hmm.
Where, again, I think we've had this discussion before, where it seems like an odd, twisted reflection of like the general collectivist and individualistic societal norms in their respective cultures,
Yeah, possibly.
where magic systems in at least in Japanese media, I've noticed that Korean and Chinese because of the CCP, but Korean media also tend to be more homogenized. The Korean media does tend to have a bit more variety, but in Japan, it's like the stand archetype magic system is much more common, whereas in most Western fantasy, there's just a magic system, and then people specialize in different parts of it.
Hmm.
But yeah, just going back to Kingdom Hearts, like, I think I do just need to play it, with people or along with people, because, like,
I am going to be there every step of the way. Look, I can flake on Mass Effect a little because I'm not really that invested in Mass Effect. I don't have the nostalgia for it. But I will literally drag myself out of my grave to
yeah.
be on the Kingdom Hearts streams. Let's hope that's not ominous foreshadowing. Because
But
if I
yes.
do end up dying sometime between now and the Kingdom Hearts stream, that's going to be very, very awkward for everyone involved with me.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yes, the point is that I made the most progress on Kingdom Hearts 1 when I had my friend who is a big Kingdom Hearts fan there, basically coaching me through it. And once he left and I kept trying to go and hit, I hit Agrabah alone, I was like, okay, I'm hating this now, kind of.
Agrabah
Some
is
games
also
are just
known.
really hard to play solo, if I'm being honest.
Well, it depends. If you're like 9 years old when you're playing Kingdom Hearts 2, then it's easy to play solo. And in fact, sometimes you don't want to play it in front of your parents because there's some very emotional moments in that series. And I my a lot of my childhood was more those traditional ideas of what constitutes like boys
Manliness.
and girls
Yeah.
media and like
Mhm.
what constitutes media for what is age appropriate and what is not. So I did have to like. I admit my situation has gotten a lot better since then, but it definitely made me really not like playing Kingdom Hearts in front of other people.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
can go into more detail off stream, but it's just like, yeah.
me too. I do. I'm trying to remember what games I grew up with. I think it was mostly Pokemon and Mario, or the big game series I grew up with. And then I later got into.
We should save this for our next either off stream or our next little relaxation party because
We've been
we
going at
are
this for almost 2.5 hours.
yeah. Which again, it shows how on some of the gaming streams we're like, okay, we've gone 2 hours, we can end. Whereas now we're kind of just like naturally in a flow state.
Yeah.
Again,
Well, in some cases, it's
it is,
just
it
getting
is,
to a natural endpoint.
yeah, it is hard to sort of let those conversations flow when we're having to interrupt it by reacting to dialogue.
Mm.
Well, that's not to
Yeah, that's
say
the
that I
thing.
don't enjoy doing narratively driven games, but like Mass Effect especially, there's a lot of stuff we have to react to where I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna I'm more making jokes about this than I am actually sort of enjoying it.
This is
I feel like
unfortunate.
that is a consequence of partially of the choice based system.
Also, kind of a
Uh,
shitty choice based system because Mass Effect
yeah,
is not as good
it
as
just
Dragon
doesn't.
Ages.
Honestly, I'm like, if you can't do a choice-based system, then just don't. If you can't do it right, just don't do it.
The point is, they can do it. We know they can do it. Dragon Age 2
I don't.
exists.
I don't mind the Paragon Renegade system. I just think Renegade is kind of a crapshoot for the most part. It does have some funny dialogue options though,
It's
and some
it's
fun interrupts.
it's more that Mass Effect more than Dragon Age, like the dialogue options that you are given are not always what you say.
Oh yeah, no. I mean that's also the case with Dragon Age though.
I feel like it's a lot clearer in Dragon Age, and especially with Dragon Age 2, the fact that you do have that. Okay, you know exactly what tone this is going to be in. Basically, that helps it a lot more.
Mm.
Yes, you can generally say, okay, well, top one is going to be Paragon, bottom one is probably going to be Renegade, middle one is somewhere in between, or one or
Yes.
the other, depending on the scenario. But like, I don't know. As I said, Mass Effect just doesn't land with me.
Which is unfortunate because it's one of my favorite game series.
I think it is why sometimes the classical JRPG formula is better, where you're just reading a novel or watching a movie, because like you can still riff on it, but you don't have to like dedicate brain power to thinking of like what the consequences of your actions are going to be.
Yeah, sometimes you just want to turn your brain off and watch something.
Sometimes you just want to watch Mickey Mouse beat someone's head in with a giant key.
Sometimes girls just want to have fun.
Girls just want to have fun.
And on that dire note, thank you
Advice
everyone
isn't
for
that
joining us.
bad.
Yeah. Thank you everybody for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed listening to us shoot the shit while I just beat the shit out of the
Stomp
computer.
rugby.
Beat the shit out of the computer Rugby 08. In terms of future stuff, Thursday is Paradox Our Podcast, WandaVision. Should be a very interesting one, especially considering, as I said, we are coming at this, several years removed, and have Multiverse of Madness there as well.
But that's going to be a fun discussion all on its own. But
Yeah,
we're going to have to talk about WandaVision itself first.
yeah.
Honestly, we do need to bundle them in, because really, Mom is a sequel to WandaVision. It's like a direct
The
sequel.
worst kind of sequel, though.
Well, we will get to it on Thursday. Saturday, Jack's not going to be here, so we're probably going to figure something out. Honestly, might just be me doing a solo stream. We'll see.
Worst case scenario, if I'm there, we can just like do this again.
Yeah. Or something similar. I don't want to play Rugby 08 every time. Even I get.
I can be the one playing a mindless game that time. Then I've got games that I can play that I can just turn my brain off for. Heck, it's been trending on Twitch. I'll play Vampire Survivors.
No,
I like that game well enough, and it's very low effort to stream.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely have other games that I can do. I mean, if nothing else, I can do Stardew Valley. I've got House Flipper that I could do again.
Oh, you know what, Mill?
Yeah.
Download Craftopia. That's one I've been meaning to play with you.
All right.
On Xbox Game Pass.
So yeah, so that'll probably be Saturday. Sunday, more D&D. We're finally finishing the jail arc, thank God. It has been a lot longer than it should have. And then next Tuesday, we'll either be probably doing something like this again, or maybe a tier list. So again, thank you everybody for watching. Please do give us a follow here on Twitch and on Twitter at Storytime_net. And otherwise, we hope to see you on Thursday to talk about WandaVision. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Later.